Welcome students. In this session let's talk about Revit structure. Welcome to Revit structure. The first session will be same. Objective will be introduction, project workflow, construction life cycle, BIM features. Revit structure is a part of a BIM. So features, we'll take some project. If time permits, we will also see the user interface of Revit architecture. So let us start with the project workflow. Now, as freshers of civil engineers, this is the project flow. That is, when you get a new project. So how do you start is first the surveying is done. Survey of the land is done, and then it is generated, the 2D drafting is generated. Once the 2D is developed, the drawings are done, and which you do it in AutoCAD. Once that is done, then the structure is modeled. This is the new concept which has come within 10 years. So the modeling is done. Now why the modeling is done is what we are going to see through when we start doing Revit. So then the structure is designed, and then the quantity is estimated. So now you have seen the flow. So I would like to support this through a video. Just let us see the video of how everything is done till the modeling and how Revit will be useful to you in your course. So see this video. So it has the 2D drawings are generated from the plan, then the modeling is happening here. So the walls are constructed, the basement is modeled, the walls are modeled, the partition walls are modeled, the furniture is placed. So this is what exactly we will be doing it in Revit architecture. So the roof is modeled, then the upper portion is modeled, and the upper floor, first floor, second floor is modeled, and then the roof is modeled, you can see, and then it is closed. Now this is what is modeling. The next you are going to see is animation, which is not a part of Revit, but walkthrough can be done in Revit. Now this is the animation. Now the flowers will come and all the birds will chirp. Now this, you can see the flowers are moving. Now the moving cannot be done, animation cannot be done in Revit, but you can see the camera moving around the building. That is called the walkthrough. So this walkthrough is possible in Revit. So once this walkthrough is done, you can go inside and see how your building looks, how your house looks. And this is when it done large scale. This is done in a very large scale. And you can also see you saw the overall modeling of the building. Now when this is done in large scale, it becomes the high-rise towers, and all the tidal parks are modeled in this way. So now what happens throughout this project life cycle is, whenever I have a dream of my house, I'm telling you in a small scale house. So what happens is, the architect develops this conceptual design. So he gets the input of the client and he designs the concepts. So once the concept is designed and then the drawings are generated, documentation part is generated in 2D, as you saw just a few minutes before. Once that is done, so next it goes for modeling, and then it goes for analysis. Analysis, they require the structural part. Okay, so structural analysis is done, and then after that again it is gone for documentation or visualization. So Revit can be used for some of the visualization purposes in the modeling part, but not in kind of the animation part.
which you saw when the flowers were moving, that is not possible in Revit. But the walkthrough can be done in Revit, which I have explained it to you. Now, once the documentation is done, what happens is, now you get the quantity. Once the quantity you calculate, that is done by, we do it in estimation, and then it goes for construction. Now all these can be done in the software part, tools part, and the whole process. Now once the construction is done, then the logistics part comes into the picture. Logistic means purchase of materials, cement bags, etc. You come, rods and bricks, everything, and then the whole building is done. Now the operation happens. The whole building, now it is sold to the clients. So now the clients come and live inside the building. Right. So once the clients live, what happens is the operation and maintenance happens. Again, I'm not talking about a very small house. I'm talking about a larger scale. Well, Revit will be useful in a larger scale. Smaller scale for individual persons it will be useful, but the operation and maintenance part, the whole BIM, the process will be useful in only in the large scale part, large scale towers, multinational towers, you see, like a Burj Dubai and all, where a lot of maintenance going to happen. Security is there. So whenever a leak happens, suppose after 5 years, whenever leak happens in the pipe, it is not so easy to detect the leakage. So what happens when you model it, and when you model it in the BIM, so BIM process, you have everything modeled in your system, is it not? So whenever the leak happens, you can easily find out, and then what happens, you click in a second of a click, it goes to the vendor, because all the details are there inside the system, right? So that is happening, but BIM is Revit will be used in only one small part of the BIM, where is modeling. Okay, so now operation and maintenance happens, and after 50 years of time, the building gets demolished, because the life of a building is almost 50 years, and then it gets demolished, and then the conceptual design again starts. So this whole process is done using the coordination of BIM nowadays. So that is called BIM. So BIM is not Revit. BIM is a concept. BIM is a concept out of which there are a lot of tools involved in it, where Revit is one part of it. I hope you understood. The next we go for the BIM coordination. So BIM coordination requires the coordination of the architect, detailer, engineer, fabricator and the owner. So that is how this BIM will help you. Okay, now all this coordination is done. Now this coordination is done by people, but with the help of Revit. Now there are 3 BIM levels. Now up to 7D has come, but now currently what we are using is up to 5D. Okay, so 2D you already might have known in your course, that is AutoCAD. So where you do 2D visualization of the plan. Now once the 2D is done, 3D when it's developed, it's called three-dimensional. What is 4D now? The scheduling and the estimation. This is what is called what is scheduling? That is when the time frame of the construction of the whole project is scheduled. It is planned accordingly. Okay, then after that works, that is estimation works will be done. So that is estimating is called the 5D. 6D and 7D, it's coming up in the future. So we will be talking about only 3D now. Now, in a detailed view that I have shown you the BIM levels, whereas 3D is what, 4D is what, we say project planning. Just have a knowledge of this. Then we have 5D estimation. So estimation, when I talk about it, is not only the architectural estimation. Revit architecture will do the architectural estimation. But there is structural estimation, there are a lot of estimation, steel estimation, so a lot of things are there, which our is limited now. Then we have the 6D and the 7D. So just have a knowledge of what is 6D is. It is conceptual energy, where how much of your energy you are using in the big towers. They'll be using refrigerators and boilers, so a lot of heat will be generated, fans, AC is there. So now this will emit energy into the atmosphere. so which will cause pollution. So for that, to check how much of your building releases, how much of energy will be done in the 6D. And what is 7D? 7D is like life cycle management, which you saw in the project life cycle. So maintenance and vendor communication. So when I said when you switch pick one button of that leakage in the pipe, it goes to the vendor, what pipe, what size, all the technical specifications are available in the 7D. So this is called the facility management. Now, when coming to Revit modeling, you can see the screen. Now, Revit is 2D also can be done, 3D can be done simultaneously. Sectioning, you need not draw manually. As you do it in AutoCAD, automatically the sections will be cut and the quantity will be generated simultaneously. So, all these things happening simultaneously in Revit is, we say 3D. Okay, so plan you need not draw. Plan you have an AutoCAD, you can bring it here directly. So all these coordination is done simultaneously, which will help you in modeling easily. Okay, so now what Revit is going to generate? It is going to generate orthographic views for you, detailed drawings, that is in 2D also it will generate, scheduling, then you have the exterior and interior, you can see your views, then you can do the walkthroughs and you can take out the quantity. Some of the pictures what you see is the exteriors and interiors which we will be doing modeling. So it will be generated in this format, the output you can see. Then this is one more rendered portion, so one more bigger picture of the interiors. And these are small projects which has been done in Revit. And I'll show you some big projects which also have been done. So these kind of ultimate output will be given by the Revit architecture. So however, stories, 3 stories, 4 stories, any number of stories, the file size, it can be controlled by you. So you can see the output picture now. So this is the project, a school project is there, a multi-residential project is there. This is a commercial project. You can see on the left hand side how the quantity will be estimated by Revit for you. So you take out the quantity and put it in Excel and you can get the rate estimation also. So this we call it as scheduling here. You don't say quantity estimation, you will say schedule. It's a wall schedule, door schedule, and then you will say material takeoff. So this is called schedule here, schedules or quantities. Now this again is one more commercial projects which has been executed in Revit. A terminal airport building what you saw. This is one more residential condo. Right? So now what is Revit? So Revit is a design and documentation platform that supports the design. Drawings can be generated and schedules required for building information modeling. Okay, so building information delivers information about the project, design, it tells the scope, it tells the quantities, and it tells the phases when you need it. Now, when we talk about the Revit file types, RVT, there are 4 types of file types with Revit supports. Like any software, if you say Excel, you save it in .xls. AutoCAD, you save as the files are saved as .dwg. Here, the files are saved in 4 formats. So here we don't say file, here we say projects. So .rvt, your Revit files will be stored as .rvt, Revit projects. And when you open a template, so without a template, a software tool cannot work. So when you have the template, now what is a template? So the elements required for your project, like doors, windows, etc., will be stored in that. So any kind of dimension, units, etc. will be there. But whatever you need will be there in that template. So without the template, Revit cannot work. So when you open a template, it opens in a format called .rte, Revit template. Then you have the components like chair, furniture, any table you want, it is there in the library by default. But suppose you want your customized furnitures, then you need to form it. You can model it. That also we will learn. So when you try to model it, it is modeled in a small module called RFA or Revit families. And when you open the families will always, it's some kind of a file. It will not open automatically. It needs a template for it. So that template is also available. It's called .rft. So Revit family template. So there are 4 Revit file types: .rvt, .rte, .rfa, and .rft family template. Now, when you come to the Revit elements, I told you a lot of elements are there. Let us see first how the software architecture is built. Now, Revit elements is divided into 3 parts, right? So we have the model elements, we have the datum elements, and we have the view specific elements. Now, what is model elements is again it is further divided into host and model components. So what is a host? Now when you build a project, what happens when you build a home? Some things, some components are constructed at the site. Can you name some? Yeah, like let me tell you, the columns and the walls and the floors. You see, they are built at the site. They are not constructed somewhere and brought in. Now the technology has come, but the proper way is you construct at the site. So the components which are constructed at the site, they are called the hosts, because it's going to hold some element, right? So these are the walls, floors, roof, ceiling. So these kind of elements. And when something is built outside and brought in and fitted in the host, they are called the components, like doors, stairs. Stairs, some are constructed at the site, some are built somewhere and brought here. Okay, windows, furnitures. The furnitures are they require host, like lamps. Okay, without a wall, a door cannot be fixed, and without a ceiling, a light cannot. You cannot fix a light on the floor or the ceiling. And so these are called model components. So any model component requires a host. Okay. Now, once the doors, windows, furnitures, they are the architectural components. Similarly, you have the when we learn Revit structure, then there will be structural elements. When we learn Revit MEP, then there will be MEP elements. So all these MEP structural elements like beams, columns, etc. are called structural components. And MEP elements, pipes, ducts, electrical wires, cables required. So these will be your MEP elements: plumbing, taps, pipe fittings, etc. So these will be the MEP elements. Now when we talk about the datum elements are like levels. When we talk about building, there will be not only ground floor, but there will be first floor, so second floor, there will be number of floors, is it not? So the floor levels, okay, so ceiling level we say. So they are called reference planes, which are called levels. Now grids. What is grid? When you want to draw the beam and a column position, you name it, you number it. So these are called grids. Okay, technically. So after that comes the view specific elements, where you have your annotation. So whenever you draw a plan, we know that it has to be dimensioned. It has to be, some text has to be written. Now dimension, some symbols have to be placed. A door symbol, you will place it. So these are called tags, text. Okay, dimensions. These will be your annotation elements. And details is, you may need to hatch it. So I told you, for 2D purposes, you need not go for AutoCAD. You can use your Revit as a 2D element also, 2D tool also. You need not specifically install in AutoCAD. So you can do a minimal 2D works here, which will cover your most of the usage of 2D. So they will be having filled in regions. 2D components will be there, a door symbol will be there, then detail lines will be line, arc, circle, all these things is ready-madely available in Revit also. So they are called as detail elements. And the views. View means 2D view, 3D views, sectional views, elevational views, so exterior views, camera, all these things will come under the view specific elements. I hope you have understood this. Now, when we talk about the user interface, you can see the Revit user interface. Uh, we will go into the software later, but we will see how the whole thing is as an overview this session. Maybe in the next session we will go for the explanation of the whole thing visually in the tool. Right. So we'll have, you can see on the top corner, you have your wall, door, window, component. These are called the ribbons. Okay. Now these ribbons can be controlled by using these buttons. They can be hidden, they can be floated, they can be docked using these two buttons, which I will show it in the software. This is called the property bar. To your left hand side is called the fifth number, is called the property bar. Whenever you click a tool called wall, so the property of the wall and the whole thing of the wall will be controlled over here. Okay, so this is the property bar. So we'll have a control, we will see. Then we'll have the project browser. Through this is the main navigator through which you will navigate to your screen. So this is the project work area or the graphical user interface where you will be modeling, and then you will be going to your 2D. If you want your sectional views, you can go through here and through this navigator bar. So you need to double click this. Whenever you double click, this will change automatically. Next will be your view control bar at the bottom of the screen. Remember that there is no command entry. You can use shortcuts, but you cannot use commands like LINE, WLL. It is not possible here. All the commands is through your clicking of the mouse. Okay. Now here we have so many bars which we will see one by one when you go to into the software. So we have the first is scaling. Okay, so we have all the view control by your sun settings. So just now you understand that this is called the view control bar where your views will be controlled. Then comes your navigation cube. So when your navigation cube comes here, this navigation cube you see is used for rotating and viewing your model, 3D model. You can rotate your own, so orbiting, so you can see upside down, you can go to right, left, anywhere. So it is just controlling the steering this wheel, so you can go through this using this navigation cube. Remember all these things, these are very important. So in every video it may not be told, so just remember these tools. Okay, so this property bar, project browser, navigation cube are very important. Okay, so these are called the ribbons, and this is called the options bar. Whenever I click the wall or any tool here, when the options of the wall will come in this portion. Okay, this is called the options bar. So with this I finished this session of the user interface and the introduction part. Hello friends, welcome to my session 2 continuation. We will see the walls. In the previous session we saw the levels. Now we will see the walls, editing of walls and the wall options. Now wall is the first modeling tool. While learning, we'll be learning this first. So walls tool creates a non-bearing wall. There are types of walls, like we have the masonry wall, generic wall, brick wall, exterior CMU insulator. So these are types of walls which are used in different countries. Normally in India we use 9-inch brick wall, or we use 9-inch with masonry. So when you see on the Revit tools, there is an 8-inch wall. So we need to create a 9-inch wall by ourselves and define the materials. So first let us, by learning, we will learn how to create a 9-inch wall, masonry wall, and then start our project. So without going, we will see the wall options. So when you click a wall tool, so what happens is there are a lot of settings that you need to do before drawing the wall. Now let's see the settings first. So we say wall. When you click a wall, the options comes on the ribbon, below the ribbon, where you need to define the height or the depth. If you define the height, then your wall will start from the ground floor to the first floor. So if you define the depth, then your wall will start from the first floor to the ground floor. So it will be reverse. So we need to define the height first. The height, you need to define the value as 10 foot, and you need to set the floor. So from which floor you are going to model, which is your base floor, and up to which floor you are going to go. You can go up to third floor also, but since normally the walls are created floor by floor wise, so we said it is the first floor, top of our wall lands on the first floor. So we'll say first floor, and the height is 10 foot. So you need to define here 10 foot. First set that, and then we will have the location line. So here, what is the location line? Is the wall center line. Here you have a lot of options which you will see. Center line. Now what is center line? So you see that in this wall, the reference line is in the center. So when the reference line is in the center, the 9-inch wall that you are going to define will be from the center of the wall. Similarly, there is a location line called finish face exterior, which you need to set according to your project. So how do you want the measurements to be? So we will say finish face exterior means the reference line that you see, the blue color dotted line, the 9-inch will be taken from that exterior. Okay. So wall face interior means the reference line will be here, and your wall will be drawn from that line to the outer side, which will be taken 9 inches outer side. So for arc walls, you can define the radius in this portion. So once you define this, you can go to your screen and draw the wall. So let us go to a screen. Here we stopped with this in the previous session where we finished creating the levels. And then suppose I want to start the walls at the ground floor. So you need to go to the ground floor plan view. So double click the ground floor plan view. So you are in this now. You can zoom and you can find the cursors and the elevational views. Now once you set it in between the screen, in between your view, then you need to click the wall tool here. Click wall tool. Now first I need to set this one. So you can see then the properties bar, there are different types of walls. So let us take the generic 8-inch masonry and we will convert that to a 9-inch wall, and we will create our own wall, which the thickness is 9 inches. Means by default our brick thickness is 9 inches, so we say 9-inch. So we will define that in a moment of time. Now here you have the height and the depth. So we define the height. So once you define the height, you see this is unconnected. Okay, so unconnected means your base is in the ground floor, so your top will be on the first floor. Since we have set the level of the floors is 10 foot, even though it is 20 foot here, automatically that level will be set. So you will not type there. Similarly, the location line. So currently let it be in the wall center line. So when you click wall center line, as I told you, the reference line will be in the center. Radius is not required now, and we have the tools here. You see the 2D tools. So these are to draw the different types of walls. This is a straight wall, line. This is a rectangular wall. This is a pentagonal wall, inscribed polygon. You can define the number of sides, and this is an arc wall. So if you want to define an arc wall, here you have these different types of arcs. Center, first you will define the center and then both the ends. Then here you have your tangent arc and tangential walls. Here the next will be the filleted walls, your rounding of the corners of the building. Certain times your walls are not sharp, The corners will be smooth. So we will see, and this is the pick option. So you have 2D plan that later on we will see. So when you pick your walls, pick your lines, automatically walls can be created if you have the 2D plan with you. So that we'll see as a separate session. So click the wall line. Once you set that, save the project. So once you set that, and once you define this is 8-inch masonry, so before that we need to define, we told you we'll create a 9-inch wall. So in order to create a 9-inch wall now, click edit type. Click the edit type button. So the property box, type property box opens. Always take a duplicate of it. Take a duplicate, click duplicate. Here you type the name first, say 9-inch masonry wall. The name can be anything, but 9-inch I am referring it as a reference for me. Okay. Now we have defined only the name, not the thickness of the wall. We have not defined yet. So we need to define the thickness. In order to define the thickness is still 8 inches. So we need to define the thickness now. So click the structure, click the edit button. It goes to a property dialog box assembly, where here you can see that the thickness is 8 inches now. So here you will change it to 9 inches. Type 9 inches, click OK. So now you have defined the, you can see the width now changes to 9 inches here. Yes, later on we'll change the material. Now these are the standard default properties. So when you click OK, you can see that in the properties, the types of wall, your 9-inch masonry wall has come. Okay. So once the 9 is, you can choose this, and then the property box, whatever you have set here, always comes in the property box. So here you have the wall center line. Base constraint is ground floor. Let us see the base offset later. Top constraint is up to the first floor, since we have set it. Okay. Now how to draw it is click on the screen first. Drag your cursor. Zoom it if you want. Now it is telling you, and you can see that if you move your cursor like this, it will be non-inclined walls. And now we are going to have a straight wall. Straight wall. So move your cursor straight, make the reference line straight, keep the reference line straight, type your value. Suppose I want to draw a 12-foot wall, type 12 and press the foot. The apostrophe button, which is representing as foot, press enter. So you can see that it will be cut, and you can move your cursor down and try to create your again a 12-foot or 8-inch. Later on, after clicking also, you can change your values. Automatically it will adjust. So you say 10-foot. Again change your cursor. Say 11-foot. Enter. Then come down. Say 9-foot. So whatever is the measurement according to the plan. Then come back here. So you see that reference line is matching with that. Click it and you can close it in this way. So press escape to come out of the command. Here you have drawn the walls. Okay. In order to draw the partition walls, since we are drawing now straight, we will use this. Click on the corner and just drag it and make it, fix it. Automatically it will try to adjust the measurements. Now you can see it is showing the measurements. Press escape. Press escape. When you click on this, it will show the vertical measurement. When you click the vertical, it will show the horizontal measurement. Okay. So if you want to change these measurements, there are a lot of ways that you can try out. Now suppose I see the center to center of this is 10 foot. You need to understand the center, since we have referred it in the center. So if you want to change that, type 11 foot. Automatically value changes to 11 foot. right now. Okay, now suppose I want to move in some inches, 11 foot, maybe 10 foot, 6 inches. Either you type the value as I just shown to you, or use the arrow cursor in your screen, in your keyboard. The 4 arrow buttons are there. Okay, behind the shift, below the shift button, there are 4 arrows: right arrow, left arrow. So if you press the down arrow, you can see that the value gets changed. Up arrow, the value gets again changed. In this way, you can change all, select it, and you can change your, use the left arrow to move left and right arrow to move right to your screen. This way you can adjust the distance later on also whenever you want to make changes. Okay. Now, once this is done, if you want to see the walls in the 3D view, you cannot go here and first check because there is no 3D view. The first time you need to go to the top here, default 3D view, and click the default 3D view, so you can see now the walls. It is in the hidden mode. You can change your mode to realistic to see the realistic mode, and the wireframe mode. Okay. So by default it is always in the hidden line, so keep it in the hidden line, and you can rotate your cursor and see how it looks. Okay, back to your home button so that you come to your original position. Now let us go back to the plan view, click the ground floor view, and we will try some of the walls again. So click the wall tool again, wall architectural. Now basic 9-inch masonry wall, the same you need to set every time because it may change. Suppose I want to draw a rectangular wall. Click this rectangular wall, drag it on the screen, left and the top and the lower left corner. You can click and finish it. Press escape, and you can adjust the dimensions as I taught you earlier. This is your rectangular wall. Suppose I want to draw the circular wall. Click the circle button, select it, and drag, give the radius, specify the radius. Say 4 feet 6 inches. Click that, and you can then select this, and you can click this and change the radius of the wall. Future, if you want, and you can change it. Okay. Now we will do the other walls also. We will quickly go through this in the polygonal wall. So this is the polygonal wall, which says the sides are 6. So you can define the sides as pentagon wall as 5 or 10. So as per your requirement, drag, click on the screen and drag to specify the radius, or you can type the radius. Say 5 foot, 6 foot, you can type the radius, and you have defined drawn the polygonal wall. And this is an arc wall. So start, first select the start. If you want, you can use this reference to know what is happening. It says click to enter the arc wall start point. Say click, then flip the orientation, select, and then you define the radius. So you can move your cursor to both sides, and you can define the radius of the circle arc to define the arc walls. Similarly, this also center ends arc. So define the center and then both the ends. Here we have the tangent end wall. So you need to define the tangent wall. Then you will be having the fillet arc now. Now what is fillet arc? Fillet arc is cornering, rounding off the corners of the straight wall. So you need 2 walls here. So click this button, fillet arc, define the radius. By default it is 1. You can define the radius by clicking on this and make it radius 2, or you can directly on the graphics, select this wall and select this wall and drag your cursor so that you define your radial wall. Okay, so this is how you draw all your walls there. So suppose again you want to see now the 3D views have come in the project browser. Now you can use the project browser 3D, double click that, and you can see that all your walls have been done. Okay, so this now setting the floor levels. Now since we have already set the floor levels, we go to the south view, double click the south view, find that the walls have been generated up to the first floor. It's 10 foot since we have set it. You can dynamically edit it by selecting this. You can pull this arrow and drag it automatically, which goes to 20 foot. So this will happen in the, see here, automatically the constraint has gone, and then the unconnected height has become 20 foot. Now since we have done this dynamically, okay, now you go to the 3D view once again, you can edit the wall height. Now you see here, it has gone to 20 foot. You can even do this, select this wall, drag it as per your dimensions, drag it as per your dimensions. Okay, you can change it again here. Now once this is selected, the properties of this only can be edited. You can see that the base is ground floor, the top constraint come here, the top offset is there, top offset is 6 foot 8 inches. You make it as 0, press 0, then automatically click apply, automatically the wall will set up to your height. Okay, so whenever I want to select only one, so it is one selection. So property of this wall can be edited. Suppose I want to select both. So now editing can be done in any views. So I can go to this editing in the ground floor. I double click that. I want to select both these walls. Press Control and select. Okay, or there are many ways. You right click. You can say select all instances visible in view. Okay, so when you say visible in view, all the things will get selected. When you have a this is a different property, this is a different property, then the property same walls with same properties will get selected. So you can select have multiple selections in this way, and then you can edit it. Say suppose I want to edit, I'll select one, right click, okay, select all instances visible in view. Then you can change your top offset at the top constraint. Now let me set the top constraint. Click here, top constraint up to second floor. Okay, now you go and see in the 3D view. Now you can see that the height has increased. Okay, similarly you can do this way, select all and up to the first floor. So you can see how the level constraint is helping us in editing easily. So in this way, if you go level by level, your editing will become easy. Okay, so this is how you draw the walls, and we have seen some type of editing the walls. Okay, so one editing is we saw in the ground floor. You can use the cursor and you can move it. Here you can use the cursor and move it. This is the editing in the 2D view. Okay, and they are editing the height we saw. Okay, editing the thickness we saw. So now we have learned how to edit the thickness, how to edit the height, right, and how to edit the options. Change the location line and create a new wall. Now there is one more editing of the wall, which is called edit the profile. So this is very important. So edit the profile. So suppose you want to edit like a fort wall, changes, you have decorative walls in the terrace. Okay, so in order to do that, we will see how the editing is done in the 3D view. So this editing can be done only in the 3D view. So go to the 3D view and then select this wall. Once you select, now click the edit profile. Edit profile. you can see that the wall has changed into the sketch mode. Okay, now I may want to edit this wall, so I remove the sketch because I don't know, this is 2D editing, so I delete that sketch, and I want to draw my own shape. Okay, so how to do that? So this is the editing mode which will frequently occur in Revit. Now I want to draw a line first, so click on the endpoint. Make sure you are following the reference line, otherwise it will show errors. So first a line of 3 foot I have drawn, then I go to this arc, click the length of the arc and give the radius. Similarly, a line, then again an arc, radius and an arc. Then do that. We want continuously, but there should not be overlappings. If there is overlappings, it will show errors. So in order to avoid the overlappings, I draw the line and then draw the arc. Or you can even draw a straight line. So whatever shape you want on the line, you can try to draw it. You have to follow, only the thing is you have to follow the reference line and come and close it. If you are not able to close it, then you may have an error now. Okay, now you see that it has followed the reference line. Click finish editing mode, which is the green check symbol. Once you do that, you can see your wall has changed into your own shape. Suppose you draw the wall. Suppose you edit the profile, select it, you edit the profile. You can reset the profile to your previous thing where your walls will be straight now. Edit the profile. If you try to draw a closed profile in this, in between, see what happens when you say finish edit mode to get a hole. Okay. In this way, you can try to create your own decorative walls by measurements. You can type the measurements as per your wish. Say 2 foot, 3 foot, whatever you want. Okay. Say you want to edit it again, select it, edit the profile. You can select, use the control, and if you want to copy this, use control and press the move symbol, click done. So you can get your decorations as you can extend it. So as per shape, only the constraint that you need to remember is when you edit the profile, it should be in the same plane. The plane, if changes or some gap is there in between, it will show warnings and it will not get closed. So again, you need to edit it properly, only then your walls will be formed. So friends, we have seen how to edit the walls and how to draw the walls. Okay, so in the next session, we will see how we will take a project, a small house, and we will define how to draw the walls and I'll show you how to draw a plan. So we will get a plan and see how according to the plan you need to draw the walls and finish the project. Thank you for this session. We will meet in the next session.